Welcome back, everyone. We're finally wrapping up our deep dive into Violet Spring's Abundance, the whole truth.
Yeah, this is it.
I'm excited to see where she leads us. After weeks of exploring these 12 universal laws, this framework for manifesting desires, figuring out how to actually apply it all to unlock abundance.
It's interesting, one of the things Spring emphasizes is that this isn't just about understanding the laws on an intellectual level.
Right.
It's about, embarking on this journey, this personal journey, self-discovery. She's saying that our potential can be unlocked by actively harnessing these principles in our daily lives.
Yeah, it's not just about reading the book. It's about doing something, putting it into action.
Exactly, yeah.
Makes sense. But Spring also mentions that there are a few things we need for this journey, right? Like certain ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. She talks about an open mind, dedication, and a willingness to learn and grow. But maybe the most important one?
Okay, let's hear it.
The willingness to do the inner work.
Ah, yes. The inner work. So many books talk about this, but what does it actually mean? Does Spring get specific?
She does, yeah. One of the most intriguing things she says is that abundance has two sides.
Okay, I'm curious.
There's the abundance that we want, obviously.
Right.
But there's also the abundance that we don't want, the kind we're trying to avoid. It's like we might be attracting more what we don't want by clinging to those old patterns, those beliefs.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
We're so focused on attracting the good stuff.
Right.
We don't always think about what we might be unknowingly attracting, the negative experiences.
That's exactly where the inner work comes in.
Okay, I see. So how do we do that? What's the inner work look like?
Spring says that by becoming aware of our limiting beliefs, taking responsibility for our energy, that's how we shape our reality.
Interesting.
It's about moving away from what we don't want, moving toward what we do want.
So it's like before we can invite in the abundance we desire, we need to clean up our internal house, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah. And to explain this, Spring uses this really helpful analogy.
Okay, I love a good analogy. Lay it on me.
She talks about 3 keys to abundance.
3 keys?
Yeah.
All right, tell me more.
So the first key, the foundation, that's the universe,
Okay.
the source of all creation.
Makes sense.
And then there's the second key, the structure.
Okay.
That refers to the 12 universal laws themselves, the framework that governs, how energy flows and manifests.
Okay, so the foundation is the source, the structure is the rules.
Yeah.
What's the third key?
Okay, so the third key is the process. And this one is everything that falls within what she calls the universal blueprint and the divine order of operation. It's about understanding how to work with the laws.
Okay, universal blueprint and divine order of operation. Those sound pretty complex. Break those down for me a little bit.
Sure. So the universal blueprint is like the grand design of the universe, the inherent structure that guides creation. And the divine order of operation refers to the idea that the laws, those 12 laws, they work in a specific sequence.
So like a recipe for manifestation.
Exactly, yeah. And you can't just pick and choose which laws you want to use or try to skip steps.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts. Each law builds upon the one before it.
Got it. So if we want to really unlock abundance, the lasting kind of abundance, we have to understand and work with these laws in order.
Exactly. Skipping steps just won't cut it. It won't lead to those genuine lasting results. Spring's pretty adamant about that. And then there's one more element. She calls it the passcode.
A passcode. This is getting interesting. What's the passcode to abundance then?
It's belief. Spring emphasizes that it's not enough to just desire something.
Right.
You have to truly believe that you are worthy of receiving it, deserving. And that belief, it needs to be paired with inspired action.
Okay, inspired action. Define that for me.
She defines it as taking steps that are in alignment with your true self and those principles of the universal laws.
Okay, so it sounds like to unlock abundance, we need a few things. We have to understand the universal laws, believe we're worthy, and take action.
That's a great summary, yeah. And to really solidify this idea, Spring includes a few quotes from some pretty insightful people.
Oh, I love when authors do that.
Yeah, it's great. Like Dr. Wayne Dyer, he says, abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that quote. It
Yeah.
really suggests that abundance isn't something outside of us, something we need to chase after.
Right.
It's already there. We just need to adjust ourselves, our frequency, to receive it.
Exactly.
And Dyer also says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It really speaks to the power of perspective.
Our thoughts.
Yeah. our beliefs shaping our reality. Absolutely. And Brene Brown talks a lot about authenticity, and I think that fits in here perfectly.
Oh, for sure.
If we're not living authentically, we're probably blocking that abundance from flowing in.
Exactly. One of Brown's quotes is, "Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we are supposed to be and embracing who we are." Really resonates, you know? It's about letting go of those masks and just stepping into our true selves.
Right. And I think when we do that, that's when we can really tap into that abundance, the abundance the universe has to offer.
That's powerful, yeah.
So we've got the 3 keys, the passcode, and these inspiring quotes. Anything else Spring offers in her conclusion?
Well, Spring's a certified numerologist, right?
Oh, that's right. I knew there had to be some numerology in here somewhere.
Yeah, she reveals this fascinating observation about the words believe and abundance.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more, tell me more.
She points out that both of them, believe and abundance, they reduce to the master number 11 in numerology.
Okay, and 11 is significant because...
It's often referred to as the master manifestor number,
Okay.
associated with intuition, inspiration, and of course, manifestation.
So she's suggesting that there's a connection, a numerical link between the act of believing and abundance. That's pretty wild.
It is.
The numerology, isn't that a bit, out there?
I mean, numerology isn't exactly mainstream science, that's true.
Right.
But it can be a really fascinating symbolic framework. While I don't think we should take it as literal fact,
Right.
it can be this tool for understanding things on a deeper level, like concepts and motivation.
I see what you mean. It's like another layer of meaning, another way of looking at these ideas.
Exactly. And in this case, it really highlights that connection between belief and, our ability to create what we want.
So we've explored this first part of Spring's conclusion.
Yeah.
What are some key takeaways for our listeners? What should they be thinking about?
Well, first, it's important to remember that true abundance, it's not about just wishing for things.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah. It requires a willingness to do that inner work. Examining our beliefs, taking responsibility for the energy we put out there.
Right.
And then there are those 3 keys.
Yeah. Remind us about those 3 keys again.
The foundation, which is the universe, the structure, the 12 universal laws, and the process, working with that universal blueprint and divine order of operation.
Right.
And of course, the key to unlocking it all, belief. We need to cultivate that deep-seated belief in our worthiness. And then we have to take action, inspired action.
Right, that inspired action. Crucial for bringing those desires into reality.
It's fascinating how Spring brings all of this together, spirituality, personal growth, even numerology.
It is a really unique approach, yeah. Bridging those concepts in this way that feels both grounded but also expansive. Yeah. But I'm ready to go back to those 3 keys: the foundation, structure, and process. Abundance, here we come.
Okay, let's unpack those. The foundation, remember, that represents the universe, the source of everything.
Right, it's acknowledging that there's something bigger at play, this energy that underpins everything.
Exactly, and then the structure. That refers to those 12 universal laws, the principles that guide how that energy flows, manifests in our lives.
Okay, so foundation is the source, structure is the set of rules. What about the process? That one felt a bit more, complicated.
Yeah, the process is where Spring talks about the universal blueprint and the divine order of operation.
Yeah.
It's all about understanding how to work with the universal laws, but in a very specific sequence to manifest our desires.
And I remember you mentioned that she's very clear about no shortcuts when it comes to these laws.
Oh, absolutely. Each of those 12 laws, they build upon the one before it. Trying to, skip ahead or cherry pick, it's not going to lead to that lasting abundance, the fulfilling kind.
So it's not enough to just focus on the law of attraction, for example. Yep. We need to see how it fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly. Yeah. Spring says it's like baking a cake. You can't just throw all the ingredients in a bowl and hope for the best. You have to follow the recipe, step by step.
Okay, that's a great analogy. It makes that idea of a divine order of operation much clearer. But what about that universal blueprint? I'm still a little fuzzy on what she means by that.
Well, she describes it as the grand design of the universe, that inherent structure that guides all of creation. It's like the framework that everything operates within.
So it's like, okay, the universal blueprint is the blueprint for a house.
Okay, yeah.
And those 12 universal laws are the guidelines for how to actually build the house,
Right. That's a great way to put it.
according to that blueprint.
Yeah, and that divine order of operation. That's those step-by-step instructions, making sure you're building the house in the right order.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So we have the foundation, the structure, the process. But even with all of that, there's still that crucial ingredient of belief, right?
Yeah.
The passcode.
Absolutely. Belief unlocks it all. It's
Yeah.
the key. And like we said before, you have to believe it, really believe it, that you're worthy and deserving.
And Spring doesn't stop there, right?
Nope.
She also talks about inspired action.
Yes. Inspired action is about taking those steps that align with both your intentions and the principles of those universal laws.
So not just any action, but I guess the right action.
Right. It has to be in harmony with your goals, with your highest good. It's about listening to your intuition and taking those leaps of faith. But remember, inspired action, it doesn't have to be this big, dramatic thing.
Right.
It can start small, baby steps.
I like that. Small steps, big results. But I think even with all that, with the gratitude, the intentions, the actions, so many people get tripped up by self-doubt. How do we deal with those limiting beliefs that can, sabotage us?
That's a great point, and Spring has some techniques for identifying and, releasing those beliefs.
I'm ready to hear them. Tell me more.
One of the most powerful things is just becoming aware of those thoughts, those negative stories we tell ourselves. Once you see that belief, you can start to question it. Is it actually true? What evidence is there?
So it's like putting those beliefs on trial, challenging them, instead of just letting them run the show.
Exactly, and once you challenge those limiting beliefs, you can start to replace them with more empowering thoughts. Spring really likes affirmations, those positive statements.
Right.
They help to reprogram your subconscious.
So instead of, I'm not good enough, you'd say?
I am worthy and deserving. Yeah, and by repeating those affirmations, you start to shift those beliefs deeper down.
I love that, rewriting that internal narrative. And there's another big piece here, right? Self-worth. If we don't actually believe we're worthy, we probably won't attract that abundance, no matter how many affirmations we say.
You're so right. Self-worth is fundamental to attracting abundance. Recognizing that you have value just because you exist. It's not about achievements or what other people think.
So how do we cultivate that kind of self-worth?
Spring suggests things like self-care, celebrating your wins, big or small, focusing on your strengths. Be kind to yourself, and realize that we're all perfectly imperfect.
Right. We can be so hard on ourselves. But true self-worth comes from acceptance.
Exactly. And when you have that self-love, that acceptance, you become this magnet for positive things, positive experiences, positive people.
This is all feeling very holistic. It's not just about, money, right? It's about cultivating this sense of inner abundance, peace, joy.
That's exactly what Spring is getting at. True abundance is about all aspects of your life.
And speaking of that holistic approach, Spring talks about who we surround ourselves with.
Oh, yes. Choose your companions wisely, she says. Pay attention to the information you're taking in, and create an environment that supports you, your well-being.
It's like creating a garden for abundance, right?
Yeah.
If you plant those seeds in toxic soil, they're not going to thrive.
I love that analogy. And then, Spring reminds us about giving back.
Right, that whole idea of the more you give, the more you receive.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be money. It can be time, skills, just kindness. Every act of giving creates this ripple effect, putting that positive energy out there, and it comes back to you. Okay, so we're being mindful of our thoughts, taking inspired action, building that self-worth, surrounding ourselves with good things, and giving back. What else should we remember?
Spring emphasizes persistence. Manifesting. It doesn't always happen overnight. There are going to be challenges. Yeah, setbacks. But you have to stay committed. Keep believing, keep taking action, even when it seems like nothing's happening.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And trust the process. The universe works in mysterious ways. Sometimes the path to what you want looks different than you expected.
Oh, that's so true. We need to let go a little, trust that the universe has our back, even when we can't see the whole picture.
Absolutely. And you have the power to choose how you see things. You can focus on the good, celebrate the wins, learn from those challenges.
It's about shifting from lack to abundance.
Yes.
Recognizing that the universe is always supporting us,
Yes.
even when it feels like it's not.
And, as we're talking about all of this, I keep thinking about that passcode belief. It really is the key that unlocks everything, isn't it?
It is. When you believe in yourself, in those dreams, in the power of the universe, that's when the possibilities open up.
And that's really the heart of Spring's book. It's about empowering us. to believe in our own ability to create that life we dream of, the life filled with abundance and joy and fulfillment.
I think she did a beautiful job. And for our listeners, I hope this deep dive has done that for you too. Spark that sense of possibility, that belief that you can manifest what you desire.
I hope so too. It's a lifelong journey, this abundance thing. And
Yeah.
every step, every choice brings you closer to that life you dream of.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the concepts, the keys, the passcode, even numerology.
I've really gone deep.
Yeah. But now I'm ready for the practical stuff. How do we use all of this? How do we actually create more abundance? Like starting today, what can we do?
That's the question, isn't it? And spring gives us some real tools, some practical steps to start embodying these principles.
Okay, I'm ready. What's first?
Well, one of the most important practices, it's actually pretty simple.
Okay. Keep it simple.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Seems almost too easy.
I know, right? But it's powerful stuff. It's about really appreciating what you already have, the good stuff, no matter how small. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you start to shift your energy. You align with abundance.
So instead of focusing on what's missing, you focus on what you have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see how that would change things.
exactly. And you know what? When you feel that gratitude, you attract even more things to be grateful for. It's like a magnet.
Okay, I'm on board with gratitude. What else?
Another powerful practice is setting intentions. Spring says, take some time, really define what you want to create in your life.
Not just wishing, but like really specific intentions.
Right, be crystal clear about what you want. It's like you're communicating with the universe, And when you know what you want, the universe can help you get there. Orchestrate the events, the opportunities.
That makes sense. But a lot of people struggle with figuring out what they actually want. Any advice on how to get that clarity?
Spring suggests things like journaling, meditation, spending time in nature. It's about quieting your mind and listening to your intuition. What excites you, what lights you up, that's where you find those clues.
That's really helpful advice. Okay, so gratitude, intentions, what's next?
Inspired action. We talked about it before, but it's about actually taking steps, taking those steps that are lined up with your intentions and the universal laws.
So not just doing anything, but the right things.
Yeah, exactly. Those actions that feel good, align with your true self. Remember, those inspired actions, they don't have to be huge. Start small.
I like that. Small steps leading to big things. But even with the gratitude, the intentions, the action, self-doubt can creep in. How do we deal with those negative beliefs, the ones that can sabotage everything?
That's so true. And Spring addresses that head on. She's got some techniques for getting rid of those limiting beliefs.
Oh, I want to hear this. Tell me about them.
So one technique is just noticing those negative thoughts, those stories we tell ourselves. Once you see it, you can question it. Is it really true? What evidence do you have?
You're putting those beliefs on trial.
Exactly. And when you challenge those beliefs, you can start replacing them with something better, something positive. Spring loves affirmations.
Oh yeah, affirmation.
Just positive statements that can reprogram your mind.
So instead of I'm not good enough, it's more like
I am worthy. Yeah. And when you repeat those affirmations, you start to change those beliefs at a deeper level. And that can change your life.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're choosing to change the story. But it all comes back to self-worth, doesn't it? If you don't believe you deserve it, you probably won't get it, no matter how many affirmations you say.
That's such a good point. Self-worth is crucial. It's about knowing your value just because you are you, not because of what you achieve or what others think.
So how do we cultivate that self-worth?
Spring says self-care is huge. Celebrate your wins, even the little ones. Focus on your strengths. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that we're all a work in progress, right? Perfectly imperfect.
It's true, we're so hard on ourselves. But accepting ourselves, that's where the true self-worth comes from.
Exactly. And when you love yourself, accept yourself. You attract more good things, good people, good experiences.
This is all very holistic, isn't it? It's not about like material wealth, it's about an inner abundance. Peace and joy and all that.
That's exactly Spring's point. It's about abundance in all areas of your life.
Speaking of that holistic view, Spring also talks about who we surround ourselves with.
Oh yeah, the company you keep. Spring says choose those people carefully. Be mindful of the information you're taking in. Create an environment that supports your well-being.
It's like you're building a garden, right?
Exactly.
If the soil is toxic, those plants aren't going to grow.
Perfect analogy. And she also reminds us that giving back is important. It's all part of this abundance equation.
The idea that the more you give, the more you receive.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be about money, right? It can be your time, your skills, just being kind. Every time you give, you're creating this ripple effect. It sends that good energy out there and it comes back around.
I love that. So we're being mindful, we're taking action, we're cultivating self-worth, surrounding ourselves with good things, and giving back.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to remember on this journey?
Well, Spring says persistence is key, manifesting. It's not always instant.
It takes time.
Yeah, there will be challenges, there will be setbacks. But don't give up. Stay committed, keep believing, keep taking action, even when it feels like nothing's happening.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And trust the process. The universe has its own way of doing things. Sometimes the path to what you want looks different than you imagine.
That's true. We have to let go, surrender to the journey, trust that the universe is guiding us, even when we can't see the whole plan.
I agree. And remember, you always have a choice. You can choose to focus on the good stuff, celebrate your wins, and learn from those challenges.
Yeah, it's about shifting your mindset from lack to abundance, knowing that the universe is always there for you, even when you don't feel it.
And as we wrap up our deep dive into abundance, the whole truth, I keep going back to that passcode belief. It unlocks everything.
It really does. When you believe in yourself, in your dreams, in the universe, anything is possible.
That's what Spring's book is all about, empowering us to create that life we want. The one filled with abundance and joy and fulfillment.
And I think she accomplished that beautifully. And for everyone listening, I hope this deep dive has sparked something in you. A sense of possibility, that belief that you can create the life you desire.
Me too. Remember, this abundance journey, it's ongoing. Every step, every choice brings you closer. Keep going.
Thanks for joining us for this incredible journey through abundance, the whole truth. May your life be full of abundance in every way.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
You have now reached the end of this podcast series and the end of Abundance, the Whole Truth, a guide to attracting and manifesting your true desires through the 12 universal laws. Thank you for sharing this journey. I will now refer you over to my holistic channel, Violet's Views, where my podcasts deep dive into a variety of self-care topics related to body, mind, and spirit from a holistic perspective. The videos here on Metaphysical Manor will continue to live here, but for now I am shifting my focus to my holistic channel at Violet's Views, so please join me and our tribe of holistic heroes over there.